this was a new phase of history, that we had entered a crisis period and that it was an all hands on deck moment. And it was the fatal conceit of the resistance that viewed American institutions as far more fragile than they are, as not as tested and capable of maintaining themselves, self-perpetuating in an entropic way, that they needed to be propped up. And that was a terrible conceit. It's the kind of thing that moves you from being mission-oriented, from being objectivist first, to being an activist. And I think you did see a lot of that in the press. I think you're seeing less of it now, but it is still prevalent, and you probably all know who the main practitioners of this sort of thing are. But it is out of a fundamental lack of appreciation for the robust stability that has been the result of American institutions. They can withstand somebody who is potentially disrespects the office of the presidency, for example. A pernicious actor, a malicious actor in a position of power and authority. We're actually seeing, I think, one of the greatest experiments in the executive branch that we've seen in a generation or more, in the fact that we have a really understaffed executive branch. We don't really need as much of the executive branch as we have, because the Trump administration has not fully staffed it. A lot of that's not great. The number of acting cabinet level secretaries is not wonderful. But I was very, and I have a background in education and diplomacy, and I was one of the few people with that background who was very happy to see the State Department sort of gutted, because it is overstaffed and overburdened, and it is replete with this idea that process and process alone is the means to an end, that engagement and dialogue is sufficient diplomacy, and that sort of thing needed to be purged. And I was fortunate to see that happening. But there are dangerous things that could